Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and start, and we're super excited that we get to celebrate Poem in Your Pocket Day with all of our special friends today. And so I'm just going to quick introduce our guests, and then we're going to start by singing with my friend Emily. So today we're going to first sing with Emily Arrow, and then
Hi.
and then we're going to hear a little bit from Blake Hoena, who is an author, and he writes a lot of our favorite books with cantata learning. And then we're going to hear from Mrs. P and from Mr. Forbes, who are going to do some fun poetry things together. And so we have lots of different classrooms, and at the end we'll give each of the schools a chance to introduce yourselves and also to ask one question at the end. So this was going to be a lot of fun. So Emily, why don't you kick us off? And she's going to sing a very special song with us today.
Okay, good morning. Happy Poem in Your Pocket Day. Maybe you celebrated last week or you're celebrating today for the first time. But I love poetry because it's a lot like songwriting sometimes. And I have a special song called Poem in Your Pocket. And we're going to use a few words during the song. The first one that I chose is book. So when I say, when you need a rhyme with book, you're going to think of a rhyme and say that out loud. And then the second word I have is sing. The third word I have is rhyme. So we're going to have to find a rhyme with the word rhyme. And the fourth word I have is racket. So I will say those words out loud during the song, and you're going to say your rhyme idea out loud with that. And the song starts like this. Keep a poem in your pocket, so when you need it, you've got it. Keep a poem in your pocket all the time. When you need a rhyme with book, say out loud a rhyme with book.
Look.
When you need a rhyme with sing.
Sing.
When you need a rhyme with rhyme.
Time.
Ooh, time. When you need a rhyme with rocket.
Pocket.
Pocket, you got it. Keep a poem in your pocket, so when you need it, you've got it. Keep a poem in your pocket all the time. When you need a rhyme, try singing along with me now. The words are keep a poem in your pocket, keep a poem in your pocket, so when you need it, you've got it. Keep a poem in your pocket all the time. When you need a rhyme, here's some new words, and they're going to be instruments. When you need a rhyme with drum. When you need a rhyme with trumpet.
Trumpet.
When you need a rhyme with flute. And when you need a rhyme with locket. Pocket, here we go. Keep a poem in your pocket, so when you need it, you've got it. Keep a poem in your pocket all the time. When you need a rhyme, keep a poem in your pocket, so when you need it, you've got it. Keep a poem in your pocket all the time. When you need a rhyme. And now, imagine that you're already wrote down your poem on a big piece of paper, and you're going to fold it up while I sing. Fold an imaginary poem while I sing and stick it in a pocket. And if you don't have a pocket, it can be an imaginary pocket too. Here we go. Fold it up. Keep it there. Take it out when you're ready to share. Fold it up. Keep it there till it's time. Time to rhyme. Oh, I see Mrs. P. She's actually doing it. That's awesome. And Blake.
Yes.
Keep a poem in your pocket, so when you need it, you've got it. Keep a poem in your pocket all the time. When you need a rhyme, keep a poem in your pocket, so when you need it, you've got it. Keep a poem in your pocket all the time. You need a ride. Thank you. Thank you. I can see you all clapping. Thank you so much for singing along. I think I saw some of your poems too. So let's fold our imaginary poems, stick them in our, if you have a real pocket or imaginary pocket. And now I'm going to turn it over to our special guest, Blake Hoena, and take it over from here, Blake.
Well, thank you. That was a fantastic song. I loved it, and I was prepared. I have my poem in my pocket for today, just for that song.
Good. I love it.
Anyway, I wish I should have brought my guitar. I could have played along.
You should have next time, next year.
Next time. But I'm a poet and children's author, and a lot of what I've been doing lately is kind of mashing together songs, picture books, and music for a company called Cantata Learning. And what's been fun about it, because I read a lot of poetry, and you know, in a way, poems are like songs. There's rhyming, rhythm, meter, and one of the fun things we've been doing is we've been taking some old, you know, some of those old classics, like, you know, here's "Shoo Fly Don't Bother Me," or one of my favorites. This is "The Muffin Man." The art's by Luke Flowers, and he's just fantastic illustration. And I also have, what do I have? Have here, "Oh My Darling Clementine." And now what we've been doing is, because one thing I always think is fun is taking old songs or old stories and making them your own. Because when we were putting together this picture book on Old Clementine, if you know the story, or you can sing the song, you know, it's "Oh Clementine, oh Clementine." It's about a miner who lost his daughter, and we didn't think that would be a very fun. It would be kind of a dreary picture book. So we did what we twisted the words around, and we made what we called a tangled tune. So instead of this song being about, you know, an old miner and losing his daughter, it's, well, because I'm from Wisconsin and grew up on a farm, it's about a farmer a cowboy trying to find his cow. I also have another one, and this is one of my favorites. I'm going to read this one to you. This is "On Top of Old Smoky." And now, if you know the original "On Top of Old Smoky," it's a song about someone who's looking for lost love. Well, I thought when I rewrote it and made my adaptation of the book, I would write it about a little boy and his pot-bellied pig looking for Bigfoot. And just one little note on it said, I grew up on a farm and I had a pet pig named Pete, so I thought it'd be fun to have one of the main characters has a pig. So I'm going to read this one to you. It's kind of a funny story. Again, "On Top of Old Smoky" was originally about, you know, someone who's looking for lost love. And I just did a playful take on it. So here I'm going to show it to you. Let me just get this right. So it starts off, it says, "On top of Old Smoky, all covered with fog, went looking for Bigfoot with my pot-bellied hog. We heard Bigfoot would roam around collecting hats, but all we could find was a well-dressed bobcat. Then we thought we saw him hidden under a stump, but we were surprised by a bad-smelling skunk. On top of Old Smoky, all covered with fog, we went looking for Bigfoot with my pot-bellied hog. We saw foxes and wolves, wild turkeys and bears, but none would dare tell us about Bigfoot's lair. So we looked high and low and side to side too, but we could find no one with oversized shoes. Then one hot rainy day, the middle of June, guess who jumped from behind a bush and yelled boo? On top of Old Smoky, all covered with fog, went looking for Bigfoot with my pot-bellied hog. And that was just my fun take for Cantata Learning on taking an old kind of like an old song and turning it into something fun and new. And so that's my bit, and now I'm turning it over to the fantastic Mr. Forbes.
And me.
Hello, hello, Mr. Forbes. Hello, everyone. Mr. Forbes, as I was sitting here, I was wondering, do you have a poem in your pocket today?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I just happen to have one pulled right out of my pocket. It's an old favorite of mine. You know, I write poems about animals,
Yes.
so I'd like to share a special one with everybody. It's called Dizzy Lizzy. I want to write a poem about a giraffe. I thought, let's have a giraffe with a really, really long neck. A giraffe I know, my friend Lizzie, also has the nickname Dizzy. Her neck is very, very tall, so tall she towers over us all. She's so tall it makes her proud, for only she can eat a cloud. So what I want to find out when I read this poem to students and friends, I want to know what they think a cloud tastes like. What do you think that cloud would taste like?
Let's see. I think that cloud tastes like a toasted marshmallow.
Ooh, yeah. That sounds really good.
Now, oh, and Mr. Forbes, I have a poem in my pocket today as well. And it's a
Please.
special poem.
Oh, good.
And I think you're going to like it. Our friend Shannon just celebrated a snowy wedding day, and we want to give her best wishes and say, hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray!
Hip, hip hooray is right.
That's right.
Good for you.
You know,
I
I
love that.
think that most people out there think that writing poems is a difficult thing. If you like to write poems, classrooms, raise your hand. Raise your hand. You like to write poems?
All right,
But
look at that.
it's very good. I see you. Now, Mr. Forbes, a personal question. How old were you when you wrote your first poem?
Well, let me
Question.
think. That's a very good question. People ask me that once in a while, and I tell them when I was in the second grade, I had a very good teacher, and she inspired me to write a poem about a car. And I said, in the rain, wind, sleet, and snow, my little car will go, go, go. That kind of got me going.
That's very good. You know, I wrote my first poem when I was born, or so they say.
I can believe it. You've got
It's
so
true.
many talents.
Yes, you know, when I was born, the doctor held me up and I said, oh, hello, everyone. I'm here. I looked at my chart. It said they had named me Mrs. P. And I said, oh, Mrs. P, for pretty or perfect or pleasant. And then I said, there's a doctor I see. He's very tall, like a tree. That was my first poem, which was very provocative for a child because I had just been born and I really didn't know what a tree was. So I had this knowledge already in me. But, you know, I think that it's very important to exercise your imagination and your creativity. I mean, what do you do, Mr. Forbes, when you want to sit down and write poetry? Do you already have a thought in mind, or do you wait for the inspiration to come?
I do.
Or,
you know, that's a great question. I do both. Sometimes I find my inspiration at the zoo. I listen to my friends and they say, and I have a fun day. Sometimes I get an idea and I start writing because I don't know where it's going to go. Sometimes I know where I want the poem to go, but I have no idea how I'm going to get there. It's a journey. But one thing would be poetry. You don't always have to rhyme your poems. Mrs. P and I like it, but you don't always have to do that. It's fun finding those words to rhyme. I know Emily is really good at that too, and that's why look at what Blake did. So rhyming can, they're all write a poem.
it's true, you know, I find that it's very important. Sometimes the sound, you know, with technology, I like to say that it's our friend, but it might not be our best friend. And sometimes it sounds like the force is with us. The force is with us. And it gets very loud. So, but I think it's very important, and I know you know this, Mr. Forbes, that just like people go to the gymnasium to exercise and get very strong, that you must do that with your creativity as well. You have to make your creativity as strong as you possibly can. You know, I think, Mr. Forbes, I could speak for you when I say that our creativity is so strong, we could lift an entire school if we had to.
Yes.
Yes.
You know how we do that? Is exercising our imaginations.
That's right. And here's how I do it. I have a game. It's a game, and I call it the word game. So I'll think of a word like friend. Friend makes me think of the word play. And when I think of play, I think of running. When I think of running, I think of kite. Oh, I wish I was out running right now with a kite. So that makes me think, I think I'll write a story about two children who are in a family, and they're very poor. They don't have money to buy a kite, so they take some paper bags and they cut them up and they put them on bits of twigs that they find, and they draw on them with crayons, and they make the most beautiful kite. And they take an old t-shirt and they rip it up and they make a tail, and they've been saving string forever, and suddenly they're running and the kite is flying behind them. Oh, that would make a wonderful story. And then I would write a poem about it, because I like to write a story and then write a poem, and sometimes I like to sing about it. I've got a poem in my pocket. Oh, wait, that's someone else's song. Okay, let's see. Oh, I've got a kite that's flying behind me, flying high. You see, and then I could write a poem about it. I have a kite that flies very high. I don't have to rhyme. I don't know why, but I don't have to rhyme if I don't want to, because it's my poem about a kite.
There you go. Wow, I love that story. And you have so many talents. You can sing too.
I could if I wanted to. Yes. Oh, I just did, didn't I? Well, I'm not as good as Emily, though. Gosh, I like that song. Do you think we could hear it again before we leave? That would be fun. Well, I don't know. Is there anyone else that wants to say anything, or do we want to ask some questions?
Why don't we ask some questions now? That would be great. And then we'll end it with Emily singing. Emily and Blake, I muted you because we were having a little feedback. So when you have to unmute yourselves if somebody asks a question, okay? So let's start with my favorite school, Van Meter, Iowa. You guys have a question? And remember, Mrs. James, you have to unmute yourselves now, okay?
Hello. Say your name. Please do not cheer so that they can hear the question. Thank you.
My name is Lucas. Miss P, is there a specific thing you write about?
Oh, is there a specific thing I write about? Thank you. Yes, I write about every single thing. You see, I write about all of my pets. You know, I have 1,547, or at least that was the count yesterday. I write about my pets. I write about the weather. I write about my hair, my cheeks, my teeth, my feet, air, just about anything. I'm inspired to write about everything. Thank you for asking me that wonderful question.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lucas. Okay, how about now we go to Karen? How about your school? And make sure that you tell where you're at, too, so everybody can know.
This is Meadowood.
This is Meadowood.
From
Houston, Texas.
Hi.
And what's your question?
My question is, do you all just write stories and poems and songs? Or do you just write something else?
That's a good question, isn't it? I'd like to
That is.
Blake, you want to answer this one?
Jump on that. A lot of it, it's what I feel like writing. There are some days, like today I was walking downtown, it was raining, so I was thinking I might write some sort of gloomy story, sad story, because it's raining. There's some days, like my poem in my pocket actually for today was, I have a pet dog. I don't have nearly as many as Mrs. P, I only have 3. I felt like writing a poem about my dog, so it's whatever I feel like writing about that day or at that time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm wondering, Mr. Forbes, what made you decide that you wanted to write a poem about a giraffe on that day?
Well, I was thinking about a giraffe, but I wanted to make it a different kind of giraffe because sometimes I feel different from everybody else. I think we all do that once in a while. But I wanted my giraffe to be really happy with what made her different from everybody, all the other giraffes.
So he wasn't your pet giraffe?
Oh, I didn't want to bother him. I don't put my pets into my poems.
Oh, I put all my pets in my poems, but I think you really hit the nail right on the head there, Mr. Forbes. I think that we all feel completely different. But the really funny thing is, when you shut your eyes and you listen, we're all more alike than different. Isn't that a funny thing? I know I hear that all the time from my pet yak. He lives out in the backyard. He says he feels different until he closes his eyes, and then he understands he's just like the cows or the giraffes. It's funny. We're all like that. I'm sorry.
Does he talk a lot, your yak? Is he a yakety yak?
He yak all the time, day and night, day and night. We have to say, please be quiet, but he can't, so we let him sing us to sleep. I'm a yak who likes to talk. Yak, yakety, yak, yak, yak. He sings all night, and we sleep to that. More questions? Shannon?
How about Laura? How about your group?
We're coming.
Hi. Hi, my name's India.
Louder.
My name's India from Betty Weaver. My question is, where do you write your poems?
Oh, Emily, where do you write your songs and your poems?
I love that question because I have a whole set of special notebooks that I'll show you right here. And this is my studio where I'm at today, but here's a few of the notebooks that I fill. Can you see me? Are you losing reception?
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, good. So this is the very first notebook that I filled with songs about books. And I write, here's a giant page full of big ideas, but then I also write in my notebook whole songs. This is about a book called Wolfie. So I write the songs and then I write the chords, and sometimes I start with just the words. It's kind of like writing poetry or writing a story, and then I add the music. And when I fill one up, I get another one, and I save a whole collection of my writing.
India, I just want to say, I thought that was a great question. You know, my problem is I write all the time. So sometimes I'm writing while I'm sitting on my bed, and sometimes I'm writing when I'm riding in a car, and sometimes I write when I'm running outside, and sometimes I write when I'm in the bathtub or in the shower or in the bathroom, or, well, I guess I'm trying to tell you that I pretty much write my poetry or songs or novels and everything, everywhere, all the time, anywhere. There's no bad place, really. Do you agree, Mr. Forbes? No bad place.
Mrs. P, I couldn't agree more. I write all the time, too. I don't use notebooks like Emily does. I think that's very good to have. I'll pick up scraps of paper, cocktail napkins, the backs of an envelope to put the idea in. But the point is, very good question for India, is when you get an idea, you have to write it down. Because sometimes they'll just float away. I think all the poets agree with that.
Yep, that's very true. You got to write it down right in the moment, or you could lose it, and it's special.
That's right. Blake, do you write this down?
I agree. I have my notebook right here, and I too, like you, I write just about everywhere. I've written in a tree, on a bus, with my friend Gus. It doesn't matter where.
question. Yeah, thank you.
Michelle, the last person is Michelle. So let's hear from you guys. We have a little echo.
Yes.
Okay. Layla, go ahead. Really loud, Sophie. Tell her your name. Really loud. This is Layla. And what's our question?
Why did you want to become an author?
Ooh, why did we want to become an author? That's a good question, isn't it? Ooh, who wants to answer that? Of course, I was born right. I think we discussed.
Very good question.
Yes. Mr. Forbes, why did you want to become an author?
I decided, I didn't actually decide I was going to become an author. I decided I was going to be a writer because I like playing with words. I like the way they sounded together. I like finding fun combinations of words. And it was only after I'd written a lot of poems that I realized, oh, I can put them in a book, and then I'm an author. So it's the idea, you have to be a writer. And you always, if you want to be a writer, the first rule is write, write, write. Then you can become.
Well, I would ask, how many of you have fun doing what you're doing, of us writers? Do you have fun doing what you're doing?
Yes.
That's one big reason I do it, because it's just fun being silly, creating stories, and using your imagination every day.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. You know, I like to write my stories down on a notebook and then pull the pages out, and then I take my stapler and I staple them together and I throw it down on the kitchen table and I say, family, hello, family, yes, I've written something, a book. I've written a book. It's all about my friend Miranda, who likes to walk on stilts. It's published. I've stapled it together. Please read it. And then I leave it for them to read. And then I'm a published author. You see? It's that easy. I think I became an author because, well, I love to do everything, and I wanted to write about everything. And then once you write about everything, you have to have something to do with it. So I consider myself to be an author. Emily, you're an author of songs. Do you write books and things as well?
I write lots of other things too, but my favorite thing to write is songs. And I love that word, a song author. That is cool.
Yes. Well, do we have time, Shannon, for more questions?
Well, I think what we should do, because we have about 2 minutes left, is we should end it by listening to Emily sing, and we should all sing along. How about that, everybody? And maybe we'll have it. Yeah, I think that would be so fun, and all of the classes can sing along too.
I love it. And this time, I wrote down some of the places that you guys said you write in. So we're going to use a tree, a bus, and a napkin, and then we'll rhyme with rocket. So thank you, all of you, for being here. We had some amazing guests today. Can we give them a round of applause for Mrs. P, Mr. Forbes, and for Blake? And thank you, Shannon, for coordinating this for us.
Thanks, everybody.
So much fun. Okay, so let's sing again, and then we'll rhyme with all the different places that we can write. Here we go. Keep a poem in your pocket, so when you need it, you've got it. Keep a poem in your pocket all the time. When you need a rhyme with tree.
Yes!
When you need a rhyme with bus.
Russ.
Yes!
When you need a rhyme with napkin.
Rapping.
Napkin.
Ooh. When you need a rhyme with rocket.
Rocket.
Pocket. Here we go.
Pocket.
Keep a poem in your pocket. When you need it, you've got it. Keep a poem in your pocket all the time. When you need a rhyme, keep a poem in your pocket. So when you need it, you've got it. Keep a poem in your pocket all the time. When you need a rhyme.
Woo! What a great way to end. Good job. Well, thanks everybody, and happy Poem in Your Pocket Day, and we will see you next year. This is always so much fun. So, thank you. Bye,
Thanks,
Hay.
everybody.
Bye, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks.